Greetings, I am Lies, and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal, and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together!
Woo!
Let's play the Arcana together. Let's play specifically Nadia's Root together.
Yes!
Which is also an invitation for engagement. If you would like to leave comments, please absolutely do so. We will respond.
We do.
We do. At least as long as our channel is this big. If you're watching this 10 years in the future and we happen to be famous, well, we'll try.
We can make an attempt was made.
An attempt has been made.
Yes.
But I am planning some big changes on the horizon. Nasmira. With Corazon at my side, looks at Corazon, we can achieve anything. Corazon, I am less inclined to believe you than I was initially.
Yeah, actually, pretty much.
You mean I can achieve anything if you're going to put this off on me?
Yes. Bless. Sneeze.
I get it.
Aha!
I was trying. Thank you.
You biffed it.
I was about to sneeze on everyone in the chat. I'm so sorry. On everyone watching this video.
Congratulations.
Excuse.
You got sneezed on.
We can achieve anything. Looks at Corazon flirtily. Corazon, I'm not sure. What are we doing now?
She reaches out, rubbing an arm around my shoulders, and pulls me practically in her lap, pressing a kiss to my cheek.
That is such
Corazon,
a
I got Corazon
gesture.
going like I have been in pain because you know what we were running around after a fucking.
And I jumped on the worm and you yanked me off the couch. I've had a lot going on with my hip today.
This is
not comfy.
No.
This is not.
This is not happening. Also, again, it sounds very juvenile.
It does. It's extremely physically possessive. So this reminds me of very much of. I don't know how many of y'all who are listening to this have ever dated a man. I was going to say, but there is this thing, certainly and especially in American culture, but I've seen it around the world as well, where if a guy is feeling either threatened or possessive, he will physically touch the object of his affection, his girlfriend, his wife, his whatever, and will just be like, they're mine, and I show you by holding on to them. But it's not about I'm being affectionate with my partner.
It's about...
It's a display, like, you know, a gorilla pounding its chest. It's like an aggression display towards the threat.
Yes, that I own this thing is mine.
And in like fiction, I've seen it always played as this romantic thing of, ooh, he possesses me, he holds me, he wants me. But it's not about you. He's not really interacting with you. What he's doing is, again, he's doing a display behavior towards the thing that's threatening him.
It's an assertion of ownership, which I know it can be used in like a kink scenario. It can be used in the sense of like a fantasy, like, you know, like I get where it's attractive in fiction, and I get where it can be attractive when you're playing around or you're flirting, whatever else. In like reality, which is what we're not talking about. Like most of the time when I've been there, it is one of the most fucking awkward things I think I have ever either been privy to or been part of.
So when I've had it done to me, it has been extremely uncomfortable and offensive, and usually there's no communication about it.
No.
The worst and most egregious example was with the second relationship I ever had in my life, second romantic, you know, partner dating relationship I ever had, and like, he was threatened by a friend group that I had prior to getting involved with him. And at one point, we were in a group situation, and I was literally talking to someone else, but standing near him, and he just grabbed my ass and pulled me in, looking at the other person that he was posturing to. And, like, it was so uncomfortable. And then I tried to stop him, and he just, you know, he's like, oh, you know, physical gesture, you know, you've you know, basically removed me. And then it was this thing of, there was this level of, no, I still feel threatened, I'm going to force this on you. Like, it was so uncomfortable. And it really, there was no communication with me. It wasn't about or in, you know, an engagement with me.
Yeah.
It was a conversation being had non-verbally with another person. In physically treating me as an object. And this is what I've met and seen with my other friends as well, especially ones that are, you know, women or were identified female at birth.
Yes.
Assigned. Identified.
It's fine.
I've got an identification.
I mean,
it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this gesture feels like that. It feels very juvenile. It feels very threatened and insecure and going, this is mine. Do you see it?
And again, like I said, in fiction, I totally get how this is fun. This conveys a certain thing. There's also, though, like a certain level of, like, again, like ownership or like, I don't know. I just like, I get tired of it because it really is just, it's not fun. I don't know. It's fine. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of romantic tropes for very specific reasons because also I feel like, again, it's not really about you being involved. It's about you. but it's not with you.
Yep, it's about you, but not with you.
Yeah.
It's done to you, not with you.
Yes.
And some people find that very appealing, but especially with this character experience, it's a little bit awkward, because Corazon is a force all on their own, and while in circumstances they are absolutely willing to share or give their power to other people, it isn't to be taken without that communication.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Pressing a kiss.
Pressing a kiss to my cheek.
Well, blushing aggressively. I'm glad you found something to fight for. Nadia, we all need our projects. I feel like it's what is this, a project? I feel like there should be a level of pause in there going, we all need our projects. Or it could be just a level of assertion. Of course we need hobbies. Of course we need things to do. Royals need to be engaged. We all need our projects.
I'm also like, for me personally, the idea of, even just if this was me in this scenario, I would hate being called a fucking project, because I have. It's mostly derogatory.
I think she's talking about Vesuvia.
I know.
But yes.
But, like, getting bundled up or wrapped up into the thing with Vesuvia,
and
because
Corazon,
it's not,
and going, you found something to fight for. I've just literally put all of my attention on Corazon. Whether you intend to or not, that's who you're speaking about, or what you're speaking about in this moment.
Yes, because
of where the conversation has shifted,
yes.
Because of the other parties involved.
Yes, that doesn't read okay. The carriage fades into silence once more.
Bye.
No.
Oh,
the moment we
bath
arrive,
time.
Nadia whisks her off to a private bath. Offering no excuses to Nazmira as we part, because she's being a 5-year-old again, I guess.
Yes.
And Nadia enters the bath barefoot, pulling the pearls from her hair as she looks around.
Aye. Does she enter it with all of her clothes on, though?
Yes.
It's amazing. Takes off her fucking riding boots, throws away whatever socks or stockings she was wearing, and just gets into the bath fully dressed like this while tearing her hair down. Just amazing. Also, who the hell are you talking to with leave us?
I have no idea. We're gonna find out.
I was gonna say, we literally just described that we left Nazmira behind with no explanations. So are we dismissing servants?
I hope so.
Leave us.
The servants waiting to attend straighten up suddenly and scurry out of the room, leaving us completely alone.
Okay, but like, remember the bath attendant from Julian's route? Like, the really thoughtful bath attendant. We created this headcanon job because the bath was completely and instantly ready and fully stocked, with the water being fresh and fresh petals on it and everything that were unwilted when Julian and the MC arrived in it in the middle of the masquerade.
Yes.
And so we came up with this job position that was just bath attendant, where they permanently and at all times, their whole job is just to keep the bath fresh and utterly ready so that somebody can pop in at absolutely any time. And you just have this cycling, rotation of 3 different people, basically 8-hour shifts apiece or whatever, that are the bath attendants. So that you can have this basically decadence completely available to you with no planning at all times.
Completely. No questions asked.
So the servants have been dismissed, but the bath attendant is still there because, they have to handle things.
Of course! No, why not?
But they're quietly in the corner, unobtrusive, and specially trained as opposed to the other servants.
Always thought that was sort of funny in regards to people are like, now they've left us completely alone. And I'm like, typically, when it came to a lot of servants, based on my understanding, you usually didn't send literally everyone out of the room. You just didn't consider them because they're not people. They're not the people who matter. You
might have sent the ones that were attending you to the location out, but any that actually worked dedicatedly to that job stayed.
Yes.
And unless, for the most part, also, if you were doing any kind of activity rather than just holding a singular private conversation, there was a level of going, I still deserve service. And it doesn't even occur to me that I deserve service. That is just literally a definition of my reality. So, of course, the function of this experience, which includes someone to accommodate it and perform it, just exists.
But that's why actually a lot of people talk about, if you want to learn anything about basically nobility or royals in the past, you really want to find the materials that were written by the servants, because they had all the stories because they were all there. They didn't kick everyone out of the goddamn room.
They also weren't focused on, yes, such and such big royal made such and such small royal blush adoringly. They were focused more on, here's what the fucking task looked like today, and oh my god, I laughed my head at.
Yes. These people are all fucking crazy.
Yeah, kind of thing. Like, there's a lot of that going on. All right.
There's so much drama. And completely alone.
Completely.
Nadia lets out a lone sigh. She begins to shed her jacket, folding it carefully and placing it on a nearby plush chair.
She really did get in with all of her clothes on, and now she's starting to get undressed. She enters the bath barefoot. Is it super shallow at the edge? And are her pants high like riding breeches?
I have no idea.
Okay, if they actually like ended like knee-high breeches, basically at the top of her riding boots kind of thing.
That would be so dumb.
What?
Okay, so the thing is I've had riding breeches. You don't do that. You specifically have ones that go in your boot, basically, or they go over it depending on the kind of riding and where you are.
But some styles basically do that sort of buttoned breech thing right at the top of it.
Yeah, I know.
And then you have your tights or your stockings underneath it. So, again, if she was able to pull off her riding boots and then pull off the stockings or whatever it was that,
her cute tights.
Keeps them in place. Or keeps you from getting horrible blisters inside of your boots.
Because that was the reason I was going to say. Like, I've seen the ones,
wear something.
You have to. Like, are you going to, like, rub your knees
And then
raw?
she's standing there, basically, on the first step of the bath, up to maybe, like, mid-calf or something, and getting undressed the rest of the way. That's kind of striking, but also funny.
I don't think she is. I think the thing is that we're left alone in the bath doesn't mean that she got in the bath. Like, I think
it says she entered the water barefoot.
Did it?
Yes, I'm really sure she enters the water barefoot. That was what I mentioned, going, oh, she took off her shoes and got in the water. And then I was joking that she had her clothes on, and now they're confirming she has her clothes on.
Oh. Okay, well, maybe I just missed that because my brain cannot, like... It's fine. It's supposed to be very decadent.
And what I'm getting is her standing there, backlit by the sunset, with all of her clothes still on, except for her shoes and whatever stockings or socks she was wearing, and taking her jacket off after she's taken her hair down, while she's in the water, up to basically, like I said, ankles, calves kind of thing.
Now, if this is going where I think it's going... This is going to get awkward fast.
Oh, inviting Corazon into there will be an experience.
Well, because it's not going to happen.
Well, we'll see.
Madame, place it on a nearby plush chair.
Which she has to toss it from there, or there's a plush chair right next to the bath.
She folded it, though, so she's going to have to fling a square.
Gently tosses a square, sends it flying, like shuriken style.
And then it goes, and lands beautifully.
Perfectly on the chair.
Shing.
So, you have met my sister. Tell me, how charming do you find her? Shall you run to her side immediately, or wait a few days?
You are deeply fucking insecure. You really are.
Also, you have never mentioned losing any social contacts, or, like, romantic interests, or anything else to your siblings. Like, this has never been mentioned before. And if you are the youngest of all of them, I find it really funny that unless you normally date older people, that they'd be interested in, yes, my sister, who is 8, 10, 12 years my junior, and their partner of that age. God, I want them. And or the partner just goes, no, I will go hit on your older sister, they hot as hell.
Right?
And going, that sounds wild. Now, it doesn't mean the older sisters have to be interested at all. But, like, you'd think... in her backstory of drama and trauma, not to diminish it, but that's kind of what it was, I was going to say, you'd think she would mention, always stealing my friends, never allowing any social room for me, everybody who...
It always made it about them.
Everyone who I connected with, always running off with them. That would have been an important thought point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it would have been, like, a sentence to put in,
I mean, I guess this could be implied to be that sentence. Basically, she was sort of resisting it, going, well, we'll never see them, and now that they're there, going, like, shall you also do this thing? Because it was a thing that she thought would never happen again, she'd never see them again.
Okay, I can see that. And so now this is the exposition.
Yes,
okay,
because
okay.
this is her concern now.
And now we learn that part of the reason she's so defensive and insecure is because she's literally lost all of her social experience as well, which is disappointing to say the least.
I stare at her, not in shock. I stare at her. Not lips falling slack. There's not
thoughtfully. I think it might be thoughtfully. Or sort of in a processing kind of way, like
loading, like slowly going like.
Corazon takes in the information. The little loading circle goes.
Just like, I'm not going anywhere, Nadia.
Like,
I finally just being like, not going anywhere.
Just like we're fine. This is fine. Oh, I apologize. It is perhaps possible that I am not as over my sisters as I perhaps thought. That is such a disorganized sentence. Poor thing.
I'm also just like, if this is the resolution to this, I will be disappointed.
I hope it keeps going. Because if it's just I guess I'm just not as resolved as I thought I was, and then that's considered to be it.
Also, again, like, for the way that I would read Corazon basically responding to this, so tonal-wise, at least for my experience, I would not see Nadia as being so quick to either drop it or be like, oh, I apologize, you're right, this thing. Just sort of being like, I just
I
most
feel
people
like-
are really fucking like defensive in that way. Unless, like, you're basically your main character. Like, I can't even think of it, like, tonal-wise for even the normal main character. Going, I'm not going anywhere, Nadia. That doesn't, like, for how much Nadia has been petty this whole fucking time, if she really does drop this, I will be completely confused.
It does again, though, sound like we've moved from, we are sort of creating a space of either equals or a subservient, because, you know, she's the countess and she's hired someone, to moving to, I am caretaking for you, which actually puts me in a position of power over you in some ways. Now, not in all ways, but like in the way that relationships have power dynamics, different pieces of them can be dynamic differently. And in this case, she has started positioning Corazon, from the last 3 things that I've seen, as her emotional caretaker, as you are going to validate me, defend me, support me, and also encourage and drive me to do better. But also, I'm basically asking you for this. And the fact that she's got blushy face here rather than, I see, it's really like, oh, I apologize. It is perhaps possible that I am not as over my sisters as perhaps I thought, which again, still disorganized sentence, perhaps twice kind of thing, and a number of pauses, and you know, with the commas and the ellipses, but like a level of going, you're going to stay with me. I immediately go to a romantic / sexual response instead of going, oh, this is emotionally meaningful and impactful to me in a different kind of mood or tone of going, you are connected to me or you do care about me. It's just a, oh, yes. Which feels odd and single-minded to me.
Yeah.
Anyway. Nazmira has always been beloved by the people. You know, those ones out there, just over there. Not necessarily my family or whatever, but the people.
The people, specifically Procra, not Vesuvia. But again, like, if the only thing you really remember, because she doesn't remember Vesuvia, she is really stuck still in Procra.
And it would make sense that she hasn't distanced herself from it at all if she literally doesn't have, like, she literally has memory of leaving there very recently. Like, her most recent actual memories are, like, 3 months ago I left this place because I woke up 3 months ago remembering nothing else but arriving here.
Yep, that would be pretty horrifying.
So you have had no actual present time in your head to process any of this.
She's had basically no character development whatsoever. This is just Nadia more or less like kind of fresh off the boat.
And it is Nadia, basically, I've just run away from home to do something basically rebellious and independent. And going, yeah, she's not nearly as mature in that way as she pretends. Now, again, you have a balance of character. She might be very mature in some ways of going, I have big dreams, I have big plans, I hope to do these things. It is my intention to take on this mantle and be a good leader as well as a good, like, director of this localized culture and city and such like that, and economy. But also going, I literally came here to sort of buck aggressively against my family, which is what's more and more sounding like to me.
Yeah.
And just start something, anything that is not them. Just unequivocally not them.
Yes.
And then not having had any space at all to move through that, I'm basically sort of a bitchy, rebellious child trying to be an independent.
I wonder if that's actually maybe partly why Nazmira was seemed a little bit like, whoa.
Like, I would think, and so in Nadia's mind, this all just happened.
Yes.
And Nazmira's like, I haven't heard from you at all in 3 years.
Like, and that could be a really long time. Like I said, that's a long time.
It's also a really interesting experience going, nobody in the entirety of Vesuvia ever communicated, nor did news ever make it out of it, that both of the leaders were gone / incapacitated.
Nope.
And so either she was functioning and awake again for the first 2 years, but doesn't remember any of what she was doing and has completely lost that experience, and then disappeared for a year, and it just didn't ever get out to anywhere else that they suddenly lost leadership for a year.
Right.
And basically your court sort of covered it socially for everyone. They
For
were just
some
out there basically
reason.
going, she's not here right now, but we're pretending she's completely functioning if she's off doing this. She's unavailable for this. She has announced this.
Oh, also, though, that would make a lot of sense, though. Why? Because they were really just trying to deal with the plague, though. Because, I mean, that would be really distracting. But I also think that would be like...
But again, the plague wasn't there anymore because it ended 3 years ago.
That's true, that's true.
So they're dealing with the fallout of it, but that's usually when you want to see your leader the most.
That's true.
And so if she's whatever she did or whatever the experience was for the first 2 years, and then the last year just disappeared, or if she disappeared for all of them and became that reclusive leader up in the castle that you never saw. Anyway, all right. They find her quite easy to talk to, unlike myself. She has never struggled to make friends, and growing up she would often charm them right away from me. This is the exposition, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Except for I bet she didn't see it that way at all. Just look at Praetor Vlastimil. Only a moment in Nazmir's company, and he's tripping over himself to tell her everything.
Corazon, do you want to be Vlastimil's friend?
Would
Do you find him to be valuable? I always find that funny because I've actually seen this behavior in a lot of people going, everybody just likes him more. And you just sort of stare at them and you go, do you want that person to actually be your fucking... Who are you talking about?
Do you genuinely want their attention? Well, no, but I want them not to, be more interested in my sister than me. So this is a thing that I've actually seen, and I'm gonna put it into a basically a social value context a little bit differently, more in a basically romantically or sexually desirable kind of way. I have seen many a girl/woman in my life go, I am not interested in this person at all as a dating partner, as a romance partner, even someone to flirt with. But if they're giving me attention and suddenly someone else takes it away, I need to fight for it because they were nonetheless still assuring my social value.
Exactly. Yes, I was going to say that is extremely common, and that actually happened with somebody that you and I worked with rather aggressively a lot sometimes, and I was really amused by it. Now, I've also been definitely part and party to this sort of behavior as well. It's been a part of my sphere. This is the behavior that I have also been taught going, if you're not fun, if you're not clever, if you're not interesting, you will be left alone. Period.
And if other people don't pick you, even if you don't want their attention, if they don't give it to you, you're not valuable.
Yes. Absolutely.
All right.
Even if they're terrible fucking people. It's like, you're like, I don't even want this. And then someone else, you're like, I wanted this conversation to be over, but now I feel like that I am not interesting enough.
And it is this level of going, even if I don't want this attention, socially this attention still asserts my value. And so when it's being taken away, rather than myself sending it away or concluding it, I then have lost social value.
She slips into a fine silk robe and moves to stand at the edge of the bath, steam rising to swirl around her.
I think she did get into the water barefoot, then get out of it to get undressed. Maybe she was just testing it with her feet?
Maybe.
And then went back into it.
Should I leave? It seems like a strangely private moment. But that just makes me want to stay all the more. No, actually,
really.
Corazon isn't super interested right now because Nadia seems to be having an experience and going like, Corazon going, I'm not leaving, not yet anyway. But I'm also like, you kind of seem like you need time and I'm not going to be around you because also I'm not sure what to still think of you. Anyway, we've had a very weird day and you have bounced around like crazy.
And you have presented a side of yourself that I was completely unfamiliar with.
Like, and I'm already annoyed. Basically, it was a compound of, through the day, we got up, you wanted to laze around, you didn't actually want to do this thing. We did the thing with the horses, and now we're doing this, and like, what I did.
And you've gotten progressively more, basically, immature and insecure throughout the day, which doesn't mean that Nadia's bad at all.
No, not at all.
But if you have, say you as an individual has an idol or a figure that you respect and admire, and the things that you understand about them from their public persona and the parasocial relationship or connection you've built with them is all these things over here. And then suddenly when you meet them, they are all of those things, but then they just shift to something contrary to all those things.
Yes.
It can be very, very confusing.
Very jarring.
And sometimes very off-putting, just going, I was not prepared for any of this because it wasn't in my original algorithm. And so, yeah, it doesn't make them bad, but it definitely can be super off-putting to someone going, wait, you're also an, the sort of rock star mentality. Wait, you're also an insecure, aggressively, defensive individual?
You're also human, and you have these other particular traits that I did not recognize because also in that way, I've sort of idolized you or put you on this pedestal that I didn't realize I'd put you on. And in that way, also, as some people will do, they will turn around and they will punish you for it, which is where I'm afraid Corazon's going to start going with this right now, if this goes where I think it's going to go.
See, and I was going to say, I really feel like Corazon in this case is like, I'm listening.
I'm listening, and I'm just watching.
I'm fine for you to exposit more of your experience, and I'm willing to understand it. I haven't, I have sealed judgment or anything, but it is a level of, this is going to need more, more conversing.
Yes.
Anyway.
So I don't agree with this, but I'll read the line anyway for all y'all listening at home, since we do that. But that just makes me want to stay all the more. I don't want to leave Nadia alone when she feels like this.
Corazon. And that is not a robe, that is a shawl.
That is...
My dear, also, your hair.
That is a shawl. What the fuck?
That is not a robe, that is shawl.
Her body faces the setting sun, illuminated by gold as she glances back at me.
Also, I'm just like, So when you're wearing your normal hairstyle, are we saying that a lot of the length is pulled up even though it doesn't look like it? Like, because I know there's a little bit of it gathered at the top, but it really looks like a half ponytail kind of thing. And like full length would be the rest of it. Is part of all of it rolled up in there and it's sort of a fake half ponytail kind of thing?
I have no idea. Her hair is of indeterminate length. Leave it alone.
Hers
It's fine.
beautiful,
She
indeterminate
has
length.
magic cartoon hair. It's all right.
Got it. Beautiful magic cartoon hair. I will admit, I am embarrassed that you had to see me in such a state. Only my sisters are capable of working me up so.
Except that seems to be completely untrue.
I was going to say, though you were this morning still reluctant to get up and do what you yourself said was your priority to do. So that is, you had no concept of your sister existing in that moment when you're like, but I just want to avoid my responsibilities and laze around in bed like a cat who has no demands upon them.
Okay, and here's the thing that I am deeply amused by.
Go.
Okay, I think in every single person's thing, I'm actually, like, wasn't there, like, one basically pose that we got in Julian's route, like, where he was in the Rowdy Raven and reading the paper, and then that's the unique pose that you get to see outside of a premium scene? Because I think there's, like...
There was also the one where he helps you in the alley, that is him in blood and stuff, that isn't premium.
Was it not premium?
So there is, yes.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't premium.
I was going to say, so there's at least one, like, attractive piece of, like, distinctive art in these two routes and possibly in the other ones that isn't something you have to purchase.
Right.
So, yes, this is cute, though.
It is cute.
I'm also like, that's not a robe.
That is solidly not a robe, one, but also number two, I am deeply amused that actually she is the most sexually available, like, physically in this way, compared to, like, what we saw out of Julian at all.
Like, we did not see any Julian nudity, really.
No,
like,
not really.
I mean, he did have the robe on.
And the cleavage.
Thoughtfully censored.
I know!
I was gonna say, but,
and, like, you look at my back, and I'm like, because, okay, so the thing is, like, if you put Julian in a pose like this...
With booty. We did not see any Julian booty.
We did not.
Like, and it doesn't count if it's in pants,
But that's also, like, why, at least me, whenever I've done a lot of art, I always think it's really interesting to actually put characters that people don't assume into what you would consider to be, like, a pinup pose.
You should totally draw Julian doing this.
It would be fine.
It would be fine. It'd be funny. It'd be good. All right, let's see.
I'm also super entertained that, like, body type-wise, how does she have a huge ass? So I hate to tell you, everybody, but based on what I've seen of Nadia's figure cut in her clothing, she really has mostly shoulder, and she is largely more...
She's very, very small and very, very slim.
But, like, that's like, a huge badonk.
Her build, the way it was, especially in the riding outfit, reminded me a lot of Rapunzel's build from Tangled. Just extremely slim and small.
But she also has much more shoulder. Which is totally okay, but like...
Just like the rest of the build, like her waist, her chest, all of it, just very, very petite.
This is the where I was like, this seems very explicit for... It's fine, okay.
It's fine.
Working me up, so... Okay.
Oh, her hair trails all the way into the water.
Oh, it does. Oh, I didn't even see that. We need an H button to hide things.
We do. We need to hide the interface.
We do. Her hand trails down into the perfumed water, idly swirling it.
My past failure stings. I thought perhaps I could simply ignore it. But the wounds only festered in the absence of care.
Should you say past failures?
By the way, I was deeply unhappy before, and I was very hurt by my experiences, and I thought that if I just pretended I'd moved beyond them and faked it till I maked it, as it were, then...
Faked it till I maked it.
I would be good.
Primo Nadia dialogue. Courtesy of Lies, 2021.
Yes. Nadia, faked it till I make it.
Corazon. Sound like a tiny meme. I faked it till I maked it. Anyway.
I was going to say, that, you know, completely ignoring any amount of, like, care or attention, never talking about it, never engaging with it, never, you know, therapying about it, never even admitting it happened, just, I will move on, would have worked perfectly, and somehow it didn't. I do not know who I was when Lucio was my husband. I cannot fathom how much of myself I lost. I assume, though, that I had to perform to engage in this position because of what I now know. That sounds so painful.
That
I'm
does
also
sound like that
like,
sucks.
you have so many freaking layers in your hair. I am amazed that it can braid that smoothly, because you've got some of it that's just like basically shoulder length here. You've got some of it that is like solar plexus length here. You've got some of it that's ass length here. You've got some of it that's mid thigh length here, and then some of it
her
that's down to
braid
the knees.
should be far messier than it actually is.
Given
like,
the level of
well,
like that serious amount of layering of cutting it thinner and thinner and thinner, so you can have all these different lengths.
yeah.
Which also means that the braid should taper like mad, but there we are. I
It's
still
okay.
think it's really freaking pretty.
It's very pretty, but it also is not as ombre as it could be, which
I was wondering where the ombre went, actually. It seems like it is gone.
I mean, it is darker up here and it is lighter here, but that also could be light quality, so it's hard to tell. Anyway, that's fine. It's fine.
I see. I cannot fathom how much of myself I lost. I do not wish to lose any more. Okay.
Okay, sure. She turns back to me once more, something searching in her gaze.
You're still filthy. Now there's the robe. There we are. She
Oh,
drops the shawl, puts the robe on. It's fine.
shit.
Look at that.
She had the robe, drops it, puts on the shawl, gets in, poses for you, goes back over, drops the shawl, puts on the robe,
Puts on the robe.
comes back to talk to you.
That was quite a performance.
What
Or
is
her trying to like basically make this completely suave of like, I get up and I put the robe on and I start to walk in, then I sort of take the robe off and grab this shawl, and then I stand there adjusting my hair and doing things, and then I take the shawl off as I walk back towards the edge of it, coming to speak to you and putting the robe on as I step out of the bath kind of thing, and just trying to make it all look rather like absent-minded, natural, but a little bit like fiddly kind of thing. If I'm just trying to settle and I can't, I'm restless.
Right.
The restless energy of it all.
It's sort
I
of
also love the little
hilarious.
feathers on the sleeves. Look at that.
Are they
It's
cute?
really cute.
They're very adorable. Honestly,
You're still filthy. When did Corazon get filthy? Now, I assume it was from rolling on the ground with the worm.
see,
on the
I was
other
actually
hand.
going to say that the thing with Corazon's clothing might be perfectly fine. I'm not sure if Corazon actually. So the thing is that we have is this like Corazon has things like
Magic their
magic
clothes.
into their clothes,
Aggressively.
whether it's like basically gems or rings themselves attached to that material. So it might be like. Basically, it will keep the clothing clean, but I don't know if it'll keep Corazon clean, because that is a difference.
It is, and Corazon may not have access to things that can like enchant their skin, which is a completely different type of spell.
And it also might be
than
that's far too
fabric.
much detail in that way, because sometimes when you go keep your skin clean, you might be way too clean, and then you might end up making yourself sick if you constantly basically get rid of your skin bacteria over and over and over
I
again.
do still feel like Corazon would find the term filthy to be a little offensive, though.
Filthy.
You're still, and also she's not going it like playfully at all. She's doing this at a very thoughtful distance of, you're still filthy. Are you not joining me? And doesn't specifically invite you, just, aren't you, are you not joining me, but also calls you filthy first, which is, again, to me, that's derogatory.
Yes.
Like, it's not like you're also dirty, or you've also had a big day, or the day has clearly taken a toll
doesn't-
on your hygiene kind of thing.
Yes.
Would you not like to, or even more tactful, would you not like to refresh yourself, which
Right.
suggests you're messy and dirty,
Uh-huh.
but doesn't say it. And so, like,
Yeah.
saying you're filthy when you don't have a casual rapport with someone, and it really is like contextual language here, where we've talked about a lot how when people are building relationships, they have to build the sort of level of connection that they have with each other. And you get used to each other's language, and casual language or language that is unfamiliar to you only has the proper like meaning or gravitas, or can only be used in a different kind of way if you're familiar with it. So saying to someone who is mostly a stranger at this point, nonetheless that you've been flirting with aggressively and has extremely strict self-care, regime, and you go, you're filthy, shouldn't you be, are you not joining me? Sounds real dismissive of
Yeah,
who they
kind
are.
of.
It also sounds like it fits very much with the MC that we had in Julian's route of, basically, you're sort of an incompetent baby in some ways. You're disgusting. Aren't you going to care for yourself?
It's a little dismiss. Yeah, it is.
Anyway.
It is really kind of.
And then I can see Corazon basically being like,
Shouldn't I be leaving?
yes, that one. Going, what? Only if you wish to. I would much prefer you stay. Please. This long pause, please. And then, blushing, but also softening a little bit, I could use the company at the moment.
So I could also see Nadia basically saying, you are still filthy, because she's still kind of aggressive and still sort of bitter and angry.
And there's a level of going, I'm not being completely vulnerable here based on her visual coding, but going, I'm being a little bit more like, again, because we go specifically to blushing again, which as far as they're coding it, I'm getting this is specifically a romantic and sexual response, not just a vulnerable response.
Yes.
And it could be being used for several, but again, like the limited expressions sort of throw me sometimes. I'm not really sure who she is and what she's being, but I really get this experience
is
of going
on brand for us.
right on brand. We don't know what's going on. On brand.
There we go.
I say, but just this experience of goes to I've been vulnerable. I have judged you and asserted my position and going, I could use the company at the moment. And there it is.
So this is what I wanted to get to, and that was going a little bit long because I suspected this was going to happen. All right, so we will come back to this next time.
Yes, we will.
Thank you very much for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and also share our videos if you are having a good time with us.
Yes.
Please also feel free to check out our Ko-Fi or our Patreon. Also feel free to check out our Twitch. We have some links actually in the description down below.
Yep.
We do actually play games live, so if you'd like to join us for that endeavor, we would very much love to see you there.
If you find yourself watching these videos going, I'd love to say something, but like I can't just live blog all of my stuff into the comments, Twitch might be a great place for you.
Yeah, there's all that too. But yeah, other than that, I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you. Bye!